Welcome to Life Abroad, the podcast that interviews people living in a foreign country. We talk about the things they like, they don't like, and the things they miss from home. On today's episode, we have Marina, who's from Ukraine, and she's in the UAE. Welcome, Marina. Thanks very much for taking the time out to do this.
Hello, Luke. And actually, thank you so much for your invitation. That's something new for me, and also pleasure to share my experience.
Great. Well, to start with, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the listeners and just tell us who you are, where you're from, and where you are now.
Well, then let me start. I'm from Donetsk, and the one Donetsk which used to be a prosperous and a beautiful Ukrainian city. Currently working in Dubai, also, as you know, prosperous and beautiful city, but not that much as Donetsk. Joking, of course. It's a beautiful megapolis and the biggest city of United Arab Emirates.
And what do you do there?
I work at the hospitality, so hotel, I would say. So I'm a hotelier.
And how long have you been there?
For now, I guess it's like being 8 years already.
Years. And how's it going with the language? Can you speak much of the language?
Do you mean Arabic language?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that easy to learn. And being honest with you, I never put it as a goal to study. But of course, I mean, we talk in everyday life, so I know a few words and I can understand, but very little.
Does that mean that
that's how it is.
that does most people speak English?
Yes, actually, English language is an official language of UAE.
Okay.
So most of the people, yes, local people, and this is very multinational country. So you cannot survive knowing just your language or just speaking Arabic. Anyway, you need English. Everywhere you go, you have to.
And just to clarify, you're in Dubai, is that right?
Yes. I am in Dubai.
Okay, well, let's go back then before you moved to Dubai, and let's go to Donetsk. How would you describe Donetsk as a city?
Well, in my memories, let's say it's still beautiful. It's developed. It's what else? Big. It's I don't know.
Is it?
Let me.
Is it still home?
Actually living for 8 years abroad, I lost this meaning of home the way it is. So home for me is a place I feel comfortable. So that's the home.
Okay. So your memories of Donetsk, what I mean in terms of lifestyle, what kind of lifestyle is it? Is it like in Donetsk?
I don't really think that I had something which I'm not having here. Usual, well, work, meeting friends, going out, doing some hobbies, and well, going to do sports, going for a walk. The only thing is different. Even working more hours in Donetsk sometimes. I really had much more free time, but maybe because I had full weekends free for myself. And here working in Emirates, I have just 1 day off hospitality. So.
Yeah. And when it comes to choice, as in restaurants and so on, in Dubai, I imagine that is a greater choice than in Donetsk.
It's a greater in the terms that there are. As I said before, that Dubai is very multinational. So it's the same applies for restaurants as well. You can find all cuisines you can only imagine. I think even for 1 month, you can go and eat every day dish from different cuisine, absolutely. So you can find whatever you wish to try, whether it's something Mexican or Thai or Italian or French or Singaporean, Indian, of course, Pakistani. So there are a lot. the variety of different cuisines. So,
Okay.
and
So,
of course, you can Donetsk.
okay. Then the first time in the UAE, when was your first time there and why?
My actually, I came here with my mom. It was just our, let's say, traveling and a tourism trip. So I was quite small. I was still a child at that time, maybe like 6, 7, like that years old. So at that time, Dubai, I remember, was completely different. So no metro, no Burj Khalifa, no all those fancy places, nor no Dubai Mall, no all of these attractions. So of course there were still skyscrapers, and it was very, something really shocking and surprising. But that's how Dubai was at that time.
Did it leave an impression on you then, even as a 7-year-old girl, that this memory of going somewhere so exotic or completely different, was that always in your mind?
Yes, yes, it did. Absolutely did an impression because I have never seen a city so clean and neat as Dubai. And also there was like, I saw firstly the green grass I never seen before. Also, as I mentioned, that skyscrapers, and everything done out of glass. Compared with Ukraine, for me, the girl coming from Ukraine was, so interesting and seemed so attractive at that time. So there were a lot of things which I tried in Dubai, and I still remember that I tried them firstly here.
And a bit strange though. I mean, going on holiday to Dubai at that time were many Ukrainians going on holiday there? I mean, specifically to the UAE at that time.
Yes, it was a new destination, and it became very popular. You know why? Because it's exotic to go to this country, which is actually with the summer when you in December, or when you have a winter in Ukraine. So of course everybody wants to go and to stay on the beach
Mhm.
when there is a winter outside. So
Yeah.
there was at that time it was something new and something exotic, and maybe still expensive, but yeah, quite popular.
So when then, you go there on holiday, you're 7 years old, and go back to Donetsk, go and study and whatever. When did you decide that, okay, I'm gonna go and move to the United Arab Emirates?
It was never my dream to go and to live in Dubai, being honest with you. But as long as I remember myself, I always wanted to live and work abroad. But I didn't think specifically about Dubai. So even the specialty I have chosen, it was international economy. So I was always having that thought that one day I will be working abroad, and that was what I wanted. I never wanted to stay and to grow and to build my career. I knew that I want to try and to, I mean, as many opportunities as I can. So I remember that I was looking for work abroad and for agencies who help to get you a job. So there were an option. There were two options. One was UAE, and the other one was Singapore. But obviously, I was actually more into Singapore. But they've been looking for more experienced candidates and experience with a, I mean, for the candidates with a well-spoken English as well. So it wasn't for me at that time.
Okay.
So,
So
but I got a job in Dubai. Yes.
you got a job in Dubai, using
No,
an
sorry. And
agency. Using
yes,
an
yes.
agency. So the preparation to move, was it easy? Was it hard? Did they help you much, this agency, when it came to moving?
Yes, actually, I don't think that I would get a job in UAE. The first job I got, by the way, from Ukraine, it was Abu Dhabi, not Dubai. So, and yes, the agency was quite helpful and quite expensive as well. So I'm not going to make any advertising for them.
So,
But it was,
sorry,
yeah.
just to stop you. When you say expensive, did you have to pay this agency to get you a job?
Absolutely, yes. Yes,
Wow.
I had to.
Wow.
Yes, I had to. Yes, I had to pay an agency in order for them to help me to get a job. So basically, what they did, they organized an interview. They invited employer, and at that time it was a hotel, and hotel representatives came to Ukraine to select candidates. I believe during the interview, there were like maybe 100 candidates, but they've been looking for like, let's say 50 or more. No, 50, no, maybe 30 employees at that time. I was the one who got the
So you were
contract.
one of the lucky
So, I
ones to
mean,
get
yes,
a
exactly.
job.
Sorry, I was one of the lucky ones.
And how soon after that interview did you move? I mean, how quick did that whole process go from interview to that's it, you're moving to a foreign country?
It really sounds crazy right now if I say, but it took 1 year.
Mm.
So from the moment of interview to the moment I stepped out of the plane. But it happened only for one reason, because hotel was postponed a few times, I believe 3 or 4 times.
Did,
So
did you ever think that, 1 year and with the postpone, with it being postponed, did you ever think this is never going to happen?
of course, every time I came to that thought. But the hotels, they were always in contact with us, and every moment we approach them to check on them and to check. All right, guys, how is it going? Are you going to actually take us and to bring
Mhm.
to UAE or not? And they always were like replying in a very polite and a very supportive manner, that saying like, we are really sorry for the situation, but yes, don't worry, it may not take longer than 1-2 months. Believe me, you all will be on board, don't worry about it. So that's idea actually, uh, so, so what really was supporting me to
Yeah.
move, to hold on.
I just wonder, did everybody have to hold on, or was everybody waiting? Did some people leave before you? Some
Yes,
people.
they left. Some, yes, of course. So some of the guys, especially those who had experience working abroad before, they didn't want to wait that long, and they said, "Okay, we will get another job." But I was also thinking about it, of course, and I was thinking to give up, but same moment, the money has paid, so.
Mhm, yes. So
So
when you moved over there, you obviously went with other people from Ukraine, from Donetsk, probably. Was that easier because did you know anybody who lived there, or did you know anybody that went there, lived there, came back? Did you have any contact with anyone personally?
yes, of course. That actually made all the process easier, and we're supporting each other and being in contact all the time, being in touch. So how do asking each other, so how do you feel? Did you get any news? Did you send an email? Did they reply? And all of these questions. So we were in contact. And I can tell you that those guys who I was in contact with from very beginning now became my best friends, and we
Mm,
are still in touch, and we are talking almost every day. So
great.
actually, how many, 8 years, of course, and passed through all of it and got first experience abroad together. That's something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The day before you flew, were you worried? Were you excited? What was the feeling the day before you were about to start a new life abroad?
I can tell you that I think from the day I left Ukraine and the moment I came to Abu Dhabi, I think I've lost 3 kilograms, just because of the stress I had. It was very stressful, super stressful moment. What if, you know? what if I don't like the country? What is if too hot? What if I'm not fitting position? What if I have not enough experience? What if what if I can't speak properly? What if nobody can understand me, etc. You are questioning yourself all the time, and of course the fear of adaptation. So yeah, that was quite stressful.
You finally arrived there. When you arrived to the UAE for the first time, what was the first thing you noticed? Was it the heat? Was it the weather?
Yes, you are actually correct. The first thing I've noticed, because we arrived in July, so let's say the middle of the heat. So I remember that I stepped out of the plane and I felt like I
Hmm.
stepped into oven. So that was a heat. that that was a heat in Dubai, and it was the first thing, and I couldn't actually. I mean, you cannot notice it. So
Yeah.
I remember the first day we came and we decided to go. All of us decided to go to the mall and to get some necessary things what we need for our living. And I remember us walking on the streets, and all of the cars was just beeping because they never seen that crazy people in July outside walking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's too hot to walk in UAE in summer. So everybody just using cars or taxi, public transport, but never walk because you can actually faint on the street.
Yeah. What one
Yes.
thing that people usually find it quite difficult to adjust to is the food. And I imagine the food, you mentioned at the start that there are lots of different choices. So was that at first, was it a problem adapting to the type of food that you had? And were the meal times the same time as in Ukraine?
The meal time was actually fine because at the hotel you always have a canteen for the personnel where you go and to have your uh, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever meal to have. And that was not easy to adjust, being honest, because the dishes they served mostly were Indian and Arabic, I would say. So after Ukrainian food, where we are using almost no spices, like not, I'm not talking about spicy, but spices, for those aroma and flavors. So that was a bit challenging.
And now, are you a fan of spice now?
Now I got used to eat Arabic food. I love Arabic food so much. When I talk, when I say Arabic, I mean Lebanese food, because with all of these appetizers like hummus, baba ganoush, and what else you can know, maybe falafel. So all of it I like so much. I respect it so much. So, but yeah, and I also when I have a chance, I try to go some different places and try other cuisines as well. If I have no possibility to travel, so how? So I can go at least and try in any outlet.
How about the people arriving there? The people of the UAE, were they friendly? Were they welcoming when you first arrived? Have you seen a change of the people over the 8 years that you've been there?
No, I don't. When I was quite small to notice at that time how people were, but the time I arrived, I found them. I mean, if we're talking about local citizens, right? So I found them quite neutral for the foreigners. So I can't really tell that they were friendly or they were some sort of aggressive another way. I would say that they are just neutral. Maybe they used to see a lot of foreigners around. When we are talking about 15%, 1/5 of local citizens, so they actually feel like minority. So
Okay, but you didn't feel any kind of mistreatment because you were a foreigner or because
mistreatment, no, never, no.
yeah. And I mean, generally they were quite polite, not rude or anything.
Uh, maybe I'm lucky, but I have never had that experience that somebody was rude to here.
What what
Even
about
just
what about their custom? Because obviously a completely different culture than Ukraine. What was a strange custom that you had to follow because you were in another culture?
when we talk about custom, what exactly do you mean?
Well, as I understand,
Like,
as a woman, don't you have to hide your hair in certain places?
well, UAE is quite democratic, and but the only thing that nobody will actually approach you and tell you something that please don't do it, or you have to pay a fine
Mhm.
for not looking appropriate. But all you have to do is just to be respectful, knowing that you are in a Muslim country, and for the lady it's better to to dress and not to cover yourself completely, but at least to cover your needs.
Okay.
So
Okay. And so as long as you kind of don't go crazy, it's everything's kind of okay then.
exactly, you basically, but it doesn't mean that you have to be respectful for the people around. You have to be respectful for yourself
Mm.
first, because when you are dressing like in a very open way, that people around may look at you. So, and some of them were not ready to see that. Maybe in their countries they have never seen that, so they will be looking at you. So
But
I don't think
what
that
about that then? What about people who go on holiday there, that, you know, maybe they don't know so much about the customs there, and they're wearing not as many clothes as they should be, and I'm talking mainly females. How do the locals treat that? Do they see that as
uh,
they're not respecting our culture, or
well, as long as you are wearing something like open clothes on the beach, there will be nobody who will tell you anything. But for example, when you are entering a mall, security may tell you to cover yourself up.
okay,
So, but I'm talking about something about extremes, like very short shorts, or
mhm,
having just a top without anything, or
okay,
so
yeah.
it's just better to have some of your body parts covered.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Prices for things, that must be quite different as well. The price for certain things in Ukraine in comparison with UAE, big difference in certain things.
Maybe it may sounds a bit shocking, but what I found most expensive here, I mean, comparing with Ukraine, for example, fresh berries. Like in general, all the imported things are more expensive, of course, and so fruits and vegetables. What is important and what is imported and like organic, especially, all of it, it's very expensive, as I said, especially berries. Like, I think 1 kilogram of cherries will cost here maybe $15 to $20, which
Mm,
is like, if you
yeah.
compare to Ukraine, which is quite a lot. So
Yeah.
also flowers are imported and quite expensive. The rest of the things, like if you go for to see branded things, I believe the price will be pretty much the same if you go to currency to dollar. I mean, pretty much the same as
And
so.
how about going out? If you wanted to go out, let's say to a restaurant and have just something like burger and chips, how much is it going to cost you over there?
It 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 really depends. In Dubai, or in general in UAE, there are a variety of places, and I'm not talking about quality food, because actually the food here is quite good quality, because they have a quite high standards for the hygiene and for the food handling as well. So you can be sure that nothing will happen to you, either you eat any of street fast food, or you eat in the restaurant. So I would say anywhere you go, you will find something nice and tasty, and the price variety it's quite big. So you may find one burger for 15 dirhams, which is like approximately how much? $5, $4 or $5. Or if you go to the fancy place, you will buy your burger with French fries or chips or something on the sides and look fancy and very tasty and wagyu or something like that. So you can buy it for like maybe 100 150. So
Yeah.
but here the difference is all about the service, whether you get it or you don't. So what is expensive here as well in this country, but I think in each developed country the service always costly. So that actually make the big difference.
What's the best thing about living in the UAE?
The best thing for me is just that I'm living in a multinational place. I can have friends all the nationalities here, so it's really nice and
And,
it's really addicting.
and what, what what
Yes.
what nationalities do you have friends there? I imagine they are all from all over the world, but what nationalities do you work with, or are your
Right at this moment, if we talk about like my team, for example, I have I have different guys from Lebanon, India, Kazakhstan, Belarus,
friends?
Uzbekistan, whatever is there.
So very
So
international, very international.
yes, so but
So yeah, sorry.
that's all I wanted to say.
What's the worst
Yeah,
thing
but
about living in the
the wor-
UAE?
actually the best thing in UAE is that you can get a friend from all over the world, and the worst thing that um, this friendship
Mm.
doesn't last. So
Yeah.
because here people come in and leave in very easily. They don't stay. There is no such a citizenship. So they come and they go. So
You've been in there.
you
You've been there for 8 years. That's a long time, and obviously seen lots of people come and go. What's usually the main reason why someone leaves?
they got enough. So
Enough what though? Is it too much heat? The culture's just too much, too different. What is it usually for them that they think, that's it. I'm going back home.
Well, yes, actually, many things. First of all, you will never that. Oh my God, what is? Let me think.
Oh, don't worry. If you don't, it's okay. If you can't pick it.
What's no? I'm just trying to think. What do I really miss, and what's actually what makes me think about living. So just in order to you why the other. So yeah, actually in this country it's natural, and when I say natural, it applies to everything. It's about human relationship. It's about work relationship and environment, and it's about nature outside and that feeling that you really miss just walking and those simple things which we
Mhm.
actually enjoy in our everyday life without even notice, just as I said, a simple walking out and
Yeah.
that's it, or going to the park or sitting and enjoying the weather. Here you really miss because there are not so many parks, there are no boulevards really to go for a walk, there are no benches when you can in the city around. You can just simply sit.
Hmm.
No, nothing like that, and you really miss it. So when you are spending your day off, you forced to go somewhere, either to eat or to drink or to entertain yourself somehow, but you have to pay for it. The
Hmm.
only thing is which is free. It's you can go to the beach and put your blanket, enjoy the sea.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, in this part, I'm going to give you a choice between Ukraine and the UAE. I will say something, and then you choose what's better, the Ukraine or. So let's start with food is better.
it's very difficult. Well, you cannot be that cruel asking. So I don't know. It's anyway. It goes to Ukraine. Still,
Ukraine. What
goes to
what
Ukraine.
what's the one thing what's the one food you miss most from Ukraine?
I think cottage cheese and borscht.
Weather.
What do you think?
Yeah, UAE.
Um,
Is it easy?
Definitely
You don't
Ukraine.
miss snow at all, or -10 or something?
I do miss it actually.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you,
but I
you
prefer to stay in UAE and miss it, rather than being in Ukraine and enjoy the rain or the.
but of
I
course
prefer to stay in
you never get snow, right? It's
UAE.
just sunshine pretty much all year. 300, you
Yes,
know.
yes. There are just some days with rain, but I can really say that like 5 days a year, maybe maximum, when it's raining.
Man,
Well, that goes to UAE. Sorry.
UAE. Do you get more
It went to
attention?
UAE.
Do, do you get more attention from men because you are a foreigner?
But they're also foreigner. So,
Okay. Yeah.
like
But
here in this country, everybody foreigner, just 15% of locals. So they
okay.
are getting attention because they are, as I
Ah.
said, in minority.
What about music?
Music. I think UAE has nothing to do with music because I mean I don't listen Arabic music at all unless I'm somewhere here. I mean unless I'm sitting somewhere in a place where it plays like
And
restaurants or
can you hear
at
it
work.
quite often in places? I mean, if you go out, is it quite common to hear some form of Arabic music being played somewhere?
Um, Mostly, I mean, if you go to Arabic restaurant only, other places, it's just like usually they play regular songs, what you get on radio, or
Mhm.
they just play something like chill out.
Okay. To party, if you're going to go out, where's better? To go out in Ukraine or the UAE?
I didn't party that much in Ukraine, so I think that definitely goes to UAE. There is nothing to think. It goes to UAE. That's
Does
it.
it have a lively nightlife there? Is it?
Yes, of course. I would definitely recommend you to come and try.
Mm,
But
yeah. Too expensive for me. Too expensive. Yeah.
don't worry.
Okay. Um, all right. So the future, do you think you're going to go back one
Is
day?
there any or for me?
Well, do you think one day that's it? You're going to have enough of the UAE and you're going to move back to Ukraine? Do you think that time will come?
This time actually it comes on a regular basis this time. So every year I think that's all right. That this year was the last one. That's enough. It's time to move on. But every time I'm getting something interesting, some interesting project to work on, so I stay. But about the plans to go back to Ukraine, not yet, and I'm not really sure if I want to go back to Ukraine, but only for one reason because I think I will never get enough of working abroad and traveling, etc.
Mm,
And I'm still looking for the place. I didn't find it yet, the place I want to settle down,
okay.
but I'm not sure whether it right now. I'm not planning to go back, and if definitely not UE, but I'm not ready to stop working it.
And where would you like to, in an ideal world, where would you like to go and live and work next?
Um, that's not easy question because I need to think about it where I'm actually able to obtain a visa and
In an
to
ideal
work there.
world, though, in an ideal
In an
world,
ideal
yeah.
in an ideal world, I would say that I would be happy to work in Barcelona, but that's an ideal world. And live as well and stay and maybe try to settle down as well. But in a real world, I'm considering Maldives.
Mm.
Or
Mm.
let's see what the life will bring.
Well, good luck. And I'd like to thank you for taking the time to do this interview, Marina. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luke. It was my pleasure as well.
You have been listening to Life Abroad, the podcast that interviews people living in a foreign country. If you live in a foreign country and would like to be interviewed, please send an email to hello@iwanttospeak.com. Take care.